guys, Tighebo here, and we are back once again with Five Nights at Harry, by Harry the First. We are on chapter 12. Last time we left off, we saw what happened to Tony and Barb, the manager and his sister. Harry, was kind of reunited with Ava, who was a security guard Harry knew as a child. And also, everyone came, or by everyone, Harry, Lisa, Michelle, and Erika, as well as the bots, started sorting out the pizza, like the stuff in the pizzeria. And we got to see Harry, Michelle, Lisa, Freddie, and Bonnie sort out the office, and then Foxy and Chief wandered in, and the older bots learned something interesting that I won't say. You'll have to either read for yourself or go back uh, and check it out yourself. There is a playlist at the end of the video. You can go watch. Go there and find it yourself. So, yeah. So if you want to see that, there is a playlist for all the videos. But yeah, we're on chapter 12. Um, and as always with these videos, if you want to follow along, the chapter link is in the description below, as always. So, let's get started. Erika gestured at one of the crates with a slight smile. Could one of you two bring that one over? With a blink, Andrew and Rebecca walked over and grasped the crate before they set it down in front of Erika. Before she could use the crowbar she had, it was taken out of her hand by Vicky. Just to reiterate, I think that's the word. Andrew is Toy Freddy, Rebecca is Toy Bonnie, Vicky is Mangled, and then of course there's going to be others. The others are Robbie is Balloon Boy and Chelsea is Toy Chica. So now that we got that all out the way, let's get going. Let me handle that. It was work of maybe a minute or two before the crate was opened to reveal a bunch of parts that belonged to Mangle. There we go. Smiling, the young woman nodded. Useful. You'd make a great assistant, Vicky. With a nod, Erika smiled at the happy and bashful expression on Vicky's face before she started to go through the parts. Seems like all the costume parts are here. A frown ran across her face, and she scratched her head some. Seems that they went for a commonality of design between your costumes and Chelsea. Though, considering her height, Erika had to tilt her head back to look at Vicky's face as she towered over her. Yours is a bit bigger than hers. As she rubbed the back of her neck, Vicky looked down and shivered a bit at the costume head of hers that stared up with empty eye sockets. Is that a bad thing? Once more shifting parts around inside the crate, Erika shook her head. Not really. Then glanced at a bored Robbie and held out the flashlight. Might give me a hand here? And holding the flashlight, his face lit up in excitement as he bounced in place. Do I? A moment later, he scrambled up onto the side of the crate and shined the little flashlight down into it. There we go. Giving him a smile, Erika took a moment to pat him on the head before she went to work. They don't look too badly degraded, despite being down here for a bit over 15 years. Still, they only have to do for a bit while I plan some changes and upgrades. That was the first time Rebecca had heard about this, and blinked. Upgrades? And changes? While she examined the chess piece, Erika nodded some. Yeah, technology has advanced in the past 15 years, big time. I've got some ideas of how to work events into your guys' systems and costumes, such as one is a bit more lifelike to make it easier for you. Her finger came up and gestured at Rebecca. For example, giving a more female figure rather than a copy of Bonnie, and something a bit more realistic for Chelsea. I already asked the Fazbear gang, though, and they just want something less scary. Vicky perked up a bit. What about me? A small grin answered her before Erika nodded. Definitely gotta give you a more teenage body. Taking a soft layer over the harder costume with false fur to start with for all of you. Seeing the excitement on Robbie's face, she smiled. and you'll look more like a real boy. Maybe a Pinocchio look, perhaps. Tilting his head as she trailed off into thought, Andrew frowned a bit. Will you be able to do this? I know that you mentioned some kind of project. However, Erika simply shook her head. Arlie is actually coming along very well. Maybe a few more days before I'm done, especially with the fact that Vicky let me use some bits and pieces from her part that were removed or due to damage or too small to be used in her, but perfect for Arlie. Harry's also told me that I can use some of the extra parts here to work on her, which makes it go even further. Biting her lip, she pulled back some, nodded. Okay, this looks good. Let's close it up and get it to the van outside. With a nod, Andrew set the crate lid back on and pounded his fist on it to drive the nails back in. All done. Now what? For a few seconds, Erica blinked before she shook it off. Well, could you take this upstairs and set it by the door? When I leave, I'll have you guys help load the van with any crates I'm bringing and then secure them in place. After that, you're going with me back to my place where I'll get to work after some sleep. Confused, Robbie tilted his head some as Erica gave a long yawn. Are you tired, Miss Erica? Shaking it off, Erica chuckled. A little bit. Been a long week for me. Becca's cheeks lit up some as she poked her fingers together nervously. Um, are you sure you don't mind the work you're talking about? I don't want to trouble you too much. Slightly unnerved with how sometimes when Becca became extremely shy and nervous when she thought she had done something wrong, Erica reached across and placed her hand over Becca's paws. I'm sure, Becca. In fact, I'm more than happy to help you guys out, as you deserve every bit I can give you. Knowing that she had embarrassed their rabbit animatronic, Erica looked down at the sheet in her hands. Now then, there's a crate around here with parts for you as well, it seems. We just need to find it. Smothering a yawn, Erica walked into the party room and blinked at the sight that met her and the others. Michelle and Lisa both looked embarrassed but amused, while Harry looked like he wanted to die. What really caused her to become confused was how the Fazbear gang kept looking anywhere but each other, while the lights in their cheeks were on. Anyone know what's going on? Beside her, Chelsea shrugged it a bit. No clue, but Chica has not stopped blushing since she came back from the office. As she watched, Erica saw Chica look toward Harry, and the blush on her face brightened before she looked away. Okay. Shaking her head, the young woman walked down to the table. When she sat down, she poured herself a drink and grabbed a slight piece of pizza. So, how did you guys do? Michelle choked a bit before she held up her hand as Harry groaned. After she took a drink and cleared her throat, the open-haired young woman bit her lip. It was informative, let's just say. Having raised an eyebrow at how Harry groaned, as well as how the Fazbear gang all flinched a bit, Erica hummed. Okay, so anything in particular? With a slight cringe tinge to her face, Lisa nodded as she gestured at what looked like a dirty jar full of loose change and a safety deposit box. Well, I'm going to be looking for some charities that could use some money to donate that to. For a moment, Rebecca blinked and then looked at the jar and safety deposit box. Um, why? Doesn't it belong to Harry? Shifting a little, Harry shook his head. I want nothing to do with that blood money. That caused more than some confusion, so Lisa sighed a bit and rubbed her eyebrow. As you know, night guards here kept getting killed and shoved into suits. Have you wondered what happened with any money or valuables they had on them when they died? Slowly, Erica set down a slice of pizza, and she felt her stomach lurch. You mean that the money in that jar? All Lisa did was grunt and nod. It's what they managed to salvage from the mess, which is why it's mostly loose change. The safety deposit box contains receipts and such for what looks like some wood shops and secondhand stores for things like rings, earrings, and so on. These guys were some real fucking sick freaks. They go back years too. Rubbing her face, Michelle felt a weight on her shoulders. The last one is from more than a month ago, so there's no way to backtrack it. Or even if we could, we can't go to the police with it, or else. With a grimace, Erika nodded as she understood what was unsaid as she glanced at Freddie and the others. The police would want to know how they were killed, and would not care if they were being controlled or not. They would scrap them. She then turned to Harry to say something, but blinked as she noticed for a second that his eyes were black with a white pupil before they went back to normal. What was that? Harry shook it off and sighed before he glared around the room. Let's just say that the animatronics are not the only ghosts here. But before you ask, they apparently agree with the plan, and don't mind if the police are not informed, as Tony and his sister had already got theirs, and it wouldn't help. Their words, not mine. There was silence for a moment before Lisa raised her finger, her voice barely a squeak. You mean that the dead guards can talk to you? Harry's nodded. She thumped some in her seat and looked around nervously. Uh, they're, um, not angry at us, are they? When Harry shook his head, she let out a sigh of relief. Oh. It was Erika who noticed that only her and Lisa was surprised and pointed at Michelle. You knew, didn't you? As she took a bite of her pizza, Michelle shrugged. Yeah, found out the other night, actually, when I came here. Besides, why does it surprise you guys? You know my dad, right? At their nods, she shrugged. You know how someone said he had multiple personality disorder? Dad always said that it was a ghost who haunted him named Faith. So people talking with ghosts and being possessed by them isn't something way out there for me. Besides, we have some spirits possessing animatronics. Is a bunch of ghost guards really that odd? For a moment, Lisa and Erica shared a look before Elisa sighed. Yeah, she has a point there. Erica laid her head down on the table and raised a finger. And what does that say about how strange your lives are now that she does have a point? That finger then pointed at Harry as he opened his mouth. And don't bother to apologize either, Harry. I don't think that any of us regret it. Besides, this makes our lives interesting at least. With a clap, she could change the subject. Right now, we should finish up eating so that we can finish up. It's already 2 a.m. after all. Taking a bite from her own slice, Erica watched as the animatronics each took a slice of pizza for themselves and bit down. Part of her, the animatronic engineer, winced a bit before she remembered that somehow the pizza always disappeared, as if they had actually eaten them. I wonder how they do that. Not too long after, they finished up and continued their work for that night. A few hours after Michelle and the toys had left, Harry smiled as he waved at the Fazbear gang after checking the clock. Come on, you guys, it's time. There was confusion on the animatronics' faces before Freddy cleared his throat. Uh, time for what? In reply, Harry just gestured for them to follow him, as the bear frowned and turned to the others. Do you know what he's talking about? Foxy shrugged some. I be not knowing what he's planning. Ah. Nevertheless, they all got up and followed Harry as he walked to the door outside and then unlocked it and opened it. Well, come on. However, they all paused as Chica looked outside. Harry, why do you want us to go outside? We're not meeting anyone or saying goodbye, are we? Chuckling, Harry shook his head. Guys, we don't need to worry about 20 anymore. So come on out for a bit. He then stepped outside and held open the door before Freddie and the others shared a look. Then, slowly, they walked outside into the early morning and onto the parking lot. There we go. We got some time so you guys can enjoy yourselves rather than rushing around. As she flexed her claws on the pavement, Chico looked around at the empty and dark parking lot. I haven't really enjoyed the night air for I don't know how long. Having walked to a stand of grass, Bonnie crouched down and ran his paw through it. It's amazing. With a slight grin, Foxy started to run a distance across the parking lot before he turned and rushed back to the pizzeria. Then he leapt before he hit the wall and used his momentum to reach the small roof area above the door. Woohoo! Now this be fun! Harry turned to Freddie, who stood in place with his eyes closed, just listening to the sounds that drifted through the air. The morning bird chorus. I I've missed it so much. He opened his eyes as he felt a hand on his shoulder and turned to see Harry smiling up at him. Soon, a similar smile was on his own face as he leaned down and hugged Harry. "Thank you." The hug was soon joined by Rose before Chica leapt in, as did Bonnie. With a laugh, Foxy dropped from his perch and then bounded over and joined in. "Thank you for this, Matey. 'Tis a gift for this here dog it is." Detaching herself from the hug, Rose took a deep breath into the air. "You smell that? It's wonderful." All the other animatronics took a moment, also breathed in the air before they agreed. Suddenly, Bonnie stumbled forward and looked to see a smirking Foxy. "Yuppie it!" And then the pirate fox was off, laughing. It took a moment for Bonnie to realize what had happened, and he glanced towards Harry, who grinned and waved him on. With a grin of his own, Bonnie took off after Foxy. "I'm gonna catch you!" However, just as the two passed Chica, he reached out and tapped her. "Tag, you're it!" The chicken animatronic stomped her foot. "Ooh, Bonnie, get back here!" It did not take long before all five animatronics were running PML, I don't know, across the parking lot as Harry leaned against the building and kept an eye out for anyone who might come by. Not that he expected any, as the area barely saw any traffic until close to 8, from the one time he had hung around. A laugh caused him to turn to see Bonnie dodge Freddy trying to tag him by leaping more than 15 feet into the air. Well, at least they're enjoying themselves. Harry continued to watch for several minutes until he saw what he was looking for. "Guys, can you come here?" Still grinning, the animatronic slowed down and walked over to him, for Bonnie clapped him on the shoulder. "Something the matter, Harry?" With a smile, Harry gestured beside him. "Sit here, you guys." Now confused, they all did so before Harry tilted his head. "Look over there. That's what I wanted to watch with you guys." All of them turned in the direction that Harry had motioned and blinked. The sky slowly lightened and changed colors as the birdsong grew louder. It was Freddie who realized what it meant as he gasped as the sun began to rise over the horizon. "It's dawn." Gently, Rose pushed Harry a bit so she could get behind him and then place her paws on his shoulders. "Thank you, Harry. Thank you so much." The group met the new day with smiles on their faces before they closed their eyes and basked in the sunlight. Taking a breath, Freddie slowly let it out. "Can you feel that? The sun?" Chica nodded as a single tear slipped out of her closed eyes as she held out her arms, unknowingly mirrored by the others. "It's so warm." Minutes passed as they all stood there, just enjoying the early morning, before Foxy opened his eyes and looked down at Harry, who was surprised that the pirate had past his tears for them in his eyes. "Matey, this be a wonderful gift for us. Thank ye for this." As he shook his head, Harry chuckled and placed his hand on Foxy's arm. "You don't need to thank me. It's something that I'd do gladly for you, just as I'm sure that you would if the positions were reversed." He got nods and smiles in return, for he stretched out and checked his watch with a grunt, which was something that Bonnie caught aside. "We gotta go back inside now, don't we?" With a sigh, Harry nodded. "Yeah, it's almost 6 now, and while you guys are not being taken off for your room until 8, we should be inside before anyone catches sight of us." His expression then brightened some. "Though, if you want, we can do this more often." The others' expressions all brightened at that, and they nodded before they headed back inside so that no one would catch them. Leaning back in his chair, Harry looked up from the newspaper as he heard someone reach the door and raise an eyebrow. "Something the matter, Freddie?" The animatronic bear glanced at the clock and frowned a bit as he scratched his chin. "Not so much of a problem, Harry, as idle curiosity. Chica and Bonnie, as well as myself, are wondering when we should head back to the stage for the day." Checking the clock himself, Harry hummed a bit. "Well, it's only 7:30 in the morning, and according to the instructions I received, you guys can wander around until 8, so be back at the stage by about 10 to the hour, I think, so that I can take you off free roam." Freddie considered this and then smiled. "Thank you, Harry, for giving us at least 2 more hours." Then ambled off to talk with Chica and Bonnie as well as Foxy. Suddenly, Harry heard a knocking noise and got up to go to the front door. Huh? Seems like the first of the employees have shown up. Once he reached the door, he had to blink before he unlocked it and stared at the similarly surprised girl. Susan? Susan Bones? So you really do work here? The red-haired witch blinked before her eyes widened. Harry? You mean that Professor Lupin was not kidding that you worked here as a night guard? Jen frowned a bit. Wait, what are you doing here anyway? I thought that you got off at 6:30. Leaning a bit against the doorframe, Harry shrugged. Got my hours extended from the new owners, as well as some other stuff. I'm gonna be here till 8 now. It was then that he noticed a blonde-haired girl behind Susan, as well as the rather austere-looking woman with robes, a monocle, and gray streaked red hair. Hannah? And, sorry ma'am, but I don't know your name. With a raised eyebrow, the woman looked him over for a moment. Amelia Bones. I'm Susan's aunt and guardian. Nodding, Susan grinned. She's also head of the Department of Magical Law Enforcement. A moment later, she cringed a bit at the unamused look her aunt gave her. Sorry. However, Harry just waved it off. Don't sweat it. Anyway, you still have about nearly 20 minutes before people start to come in. Susan shrugged a bit as she looked at a watch. Well, I like to be a bit early. She then noticed that he looked back towards Hannah and Amelia. Hannah will be hanging out a bit here, while Auntie wants to spend some time with me. After some thought, Harry nodded as he moved out of the way. Sure, shouldn't be a problem. When they walked past, he cleared his throat a bit. Just to let you know, new owners want the animatronics to be put on free roam for a bit longer than they used to. So if you see them wandering around, pay them no real mind. That caused Susan to stop and blink as she turned. Free roam? Having raised an eyebrow, Harry nodded some as he noticed a red object peek around the corner before it ducked back. Oh, Foxy's got a crush! I believe it was mentioned in like a previous chapter that Foxy has a crush on Susan. Yeah, they used to be able to freely roam the pizzeria years ago, but that stopped after an incident. So now they're put on free roam during the night, so their servos won't lock up. With an unsure nod, Susan shared a look with Hannah. Okay then. The group started to walk down the hall as Amelia turned towards Harry. So then, Mr. Prosser, how are you enjoying your job on the night shift? According to my niece, it's odd that anyone has stayed as long as you. Harry shrugged a bit as he noticed Hannah looking at the security office. It's always interesting in some ways, and I like it. Keeps me on my toes. With a slight smile, Harry cleared his throat. Something capture your interest, Hannah? Jumping a bit, Hannah turned and gave him a sheepish smile. Just looking. Though I am wondering why you have a button for doors or for lights here. As he chuckled, Harry walked up. Well, at night the entire place runs on limited power. That means if I want to look out into either hall beside my office, I need to press the light button to see, like so. He pressed it, and the three witches looked up to see the light come on. The stereo doors are mainly if there's trouble, or if I don't want the wandering animatronics to enter the office. Eyebrow raising, Amelia took a step back, along with Susan and Hannah, like Harry motioned for them to do so. Then he pressed a button, and with a loud bang, a steel door fell, blocking the doorway. The moment it raised, and she looked at it with some trepidation. Rather much, isn't it? It appears that it would withstand some hits with curses before coming down. All Harry did was chuckle mysteriously before he knocked on the window glass. Not that much. It's just like how the windows are bulletproof glass. It was then that he noticed something and saw it as he pinched the bridge of his nose. Foxy, what are you doing? There was a voice behind them that caused the three witches to turn before they jumped back with Susan and Hannah gripping Amelia's arms. I be seeing who came in, Harry. Part of Harry was amused that Foxy shuffled a bit when he realized that Susan was there as the small lights came on in his cheeks. Hello there, Susan. Be good seeing you, lass. Confused, Susan relaxed a bit as she noticed that Harry was unconcerned before she looked up to the face of the 7.5 foot tall animatronic fox. You know who I am? Slowly, Harry's amusement increased as he watched as Foxy rapidly nodded. Aye, I be seeing and hearing you sometimes through the curtains when you pass me cove. You'll also be in the employees' database we can access to know who works here. He then wrung his hook. I be wishing to meet you for a while now. Not confused, Susan glanced back at Harry, who only grinned and snickered. That's nice, I guess. It was then that she realized what he meant. Wait, you're the out of order animatronic in Pirate's Cove, right? Foxy winced at that before he reached up and rubbed the back of his head as he looked away. Um, yes, that be I. Lass. Pirate Captain Foxy. Greatest pirate in all of the seven seas. Arr! Sighing, Harry stepped between Susan and an Arthur-killer ant. This is nice and all, Foxy, but time for you to get back to your cove for the day. With a scowl, Foxy kept glancing at Susan as he crossed his arms. I be not wanting to go back to my cove just yet, matey. I be wanting to stay here with Susan for a wee bit longer. Okay, I'm now going into Scottish territory with the accents, but that always happens with this Foxy. Anyway, neither Harry nor Foxy noticed another group of employees walk into view and freeze as they saw the fox animatronic as the wizard walked up and poked him in the chest. Foxy, the agreement with the new owner says that you have free roam until 8. It is now nearly 7:45, which, considering that I have to take you off free roam manually, you need to get back to your cove now. Crossing his arms again, Foxy stopped 1 foot before he bent down so that his muzzle was inches from unamused Harry's face. I'd not be wanting to. Harry narrowed his eyes, and Foxy was about to say something else when Harry reached up and used his hand to shut Foxy's jaw as he growled at him petulantly. I guess he's pouting. I don't know. Foxy, get to your cove now, or else the new owner might decide it's not worth it. For a few seconds, Foxy glanced between Harry and Susan before he whined a bit and stomped his foot with a paw. I be going. No need for threats. As he walked off, Harry sighed and shook his head. What am I going to do with him? He then turned to a stunned Susan and grimaced. Sorry to cut this short, but I need to make sure that they're getting back to their places. Harry then quickly checked the cameras near the office and leaned back into the security office. Foxy, stop trying to get around me and get your furry tail back to your cove. There was a growl from just out of sight before they heard clanks as Harry cut across his office and walked into the other hallway. I swear, sometimes. There was silence for a few moments before a slightly odd voice spoke up. Holy shit. I knew that the kid was a badass, but facing Foxy down? That takes him to a whole other level. He's got to have balls of pure steel for that. With a blink, Susan turned to see one of the senior waitresses there, Ashley, who had taken over as day manager. What do you mean? Sure, he's a bit scared looking, which might be why he's out of order, but it can't be that bad. She took in the expressions of the older employees and swallowed. Right? Sighing, Ashley groans a bit. Look, you're new here and everything, but Foxy is old and has been with the pizzeria for decades now. The reason he's out of order is because of the bite of 77. Her eyes narrowing, Amelia took a step forward. Bite of 77. Once more, there were looks shared by the older employees before Ashley swept her graying hair from her face. Yeah, there were some issues with Biggled, another Amazon. They rushed Foxy, who had been back decommissioned, into full active duty using parts and such. Problem being that he was a bit glitchy, and during his performance stopped. The day guard, who had also been the night guard, Jeremy Fitzgerald, was beside him and leaned in. Next thing anyone knew, Foxy had his head in his jaws and clamped down, biting the poor man's frontal lobe off. A shudder ran through her body. It was during a child's birthday party, and there was so much blood everywhere. Aghast, Hannah paled, as did Susan, before the blonde gulped. That thing killed a guard? Ashley shook her head a bit. Though, poor guy lived through it. Though he was in a coma for a few months, as they waited to see if he would survive or not. During that time, Freddy's moved here, and they set up Harriet with Foxy, wanting to use him after they fix him up. But after Jerry woke up, his family sued, and if I remember the settlement, the last bit was that Foxy was out to be used, so they decommissioned him. Never knew that was still active at night, though I do remember some rumors. Once more, Amelia's eyes narrowed. Rumors? Shrugging, the new day manager walked past. Yeah, I've heard stories from some of the other night guards before they quit. Strangest thing, though, some of them didn't remember saying anything about what happened on their shift, and one didn't remember even working here at all. Really weird. Probably contracted not to say anything. Pieces started to fall into place in Amelia's mind as she followed alongside Susan and Hannah as they entered the party room to see Harry walk out the curtained cove and head towards where Freddie and the others were getting back on stage. Having seen that, Ashley whistled lowly as Harry started to take them off free roam. He went into the damn cove. Kids got even bigger balls than I thought. Gulping down some near scalding coffee, Erika stretched enough that her back cracked a bit. Ah, much better. She glanced at the clock, which told her that it was getting on into the late afternoon, before she turned back to the small endoskeleton on the table before her. Finally, all the repairs are done. Time to suit up. Picking up the small endoskeleton, roughly the size of a small child, Erika walked over to the costume and began to place it inside. Gently, gently now. We don't want you to get hurt, oddly. Once it was inside, she nodded and performed the final checks she needed. Good thing that Harry let me have those parts, as well as an advance on my payment. It would have been weeks before it got to this point. Okay, looks good. Arlie, time to finish up. With deft fingers, Erika closed up the suit before she pulled up a chair and opened her laptop and saw the animatronic that sat on the end of the table. Well, time to put you up, then. Cracking her fingers, she took a wire from the laptop and then placed it into a socket in the back of Arlie's head and began typing with one hand as she drank some more coffee. Let's see. Systems look good so far. Beginning boot up process. On the table, the animatronic shook as the systems booted up fully for the first time in decades. Her face lit by the computer screen, Erika glanced at oddly as her laptop chimed. There we go. Boot up complete. The animatronic otter suddenly opened her green eyes and looked around before it focused on Erika. Hey there. How are you feeling, Audley? However, she did not expect for an answer back as Audley blinked and then rubbed her arm some. Okay, I guess? Her eyebrows then furrowed some before she tilted her head in confusion. Audley? Despite a feeling of unease having slowly rose in her, Erika nodded some. Well, I gave you that name because when I found you, that wasn't on your endoskeleton. Why? Do your database have a name? Slowly, the other animatronic nodded some. My name was Olive. The lights at her cheek then lit up as she kicked her slim legs where they hung off the table's edge. But I don't mind being called Ollie. Humming, Erika folded her arms across her stomach for a moment as her laptop began to run through Olive's programming. How about a compromise then? Olive Ollie, the otter. It was perfect in her eyes as Olive lit up at that and nodded as her eyes teared some before the laptop chimed again. Ah, there we go. Confused, Olive leaned over some, though she was careful not to lose her balance. What are you doing? Erika glanced over at her as she began to check what was on the screen. Just checking your program to make sure that you don't have any bugs or anything. That's all. Especially with how many parts that I have to replace. Her eyes wide, Olive finished it some. Oh, you were the one who fixed me? Thank you. Something about both what she could see for programming as well as Olive's answer bugged her. You're very welcome, and suddenly it all clicked together and she set down her mug as she stared at the animatronic who watched her. How did you know that I fixed you? While she tilted her head, Olive blinked. Well, I sent someone fixing me, though I couldn't move or talk. I felt really tired all the time, but now I'm better. A thought seemed to occur to her, and she became bashful. Since you fix me and all that. Does that mean that you're my mommy? Stunned, Erika slowly nodded and was further surprised as Olive hopped off the table and rushed over to hug her. Hey, I got a mommy now. I told Daddy and anyone that I would have a mommy one day. The alarm bells inside Erika's head blared before her as she patted the back of the animatronic. What do you mean by Daddy? Olive looked up through tearful eyes as she sniffed. Daddy was always mean to me and yelling mean things. He said that my mommy didn't love me and left because of that. But I told her that mommy did love me and would come back, and you did. And I'm not a puppet anymore. As her throat felt constricted, Erika gulped. Puppet? Nodding rapidly, Olive tightened the hug a bit. Yeah, the mean puppet man used me in his show as a puppet. Her eyebrows furrowed a bit in confusion. I don't know how I became a puppet, though. Maybe that man who gave me the bad cake turned me into one. With her body shaking a bit, Erika glanced down. Oh God, please don't tell me. Having wet her suddenly dry lips, Erika stroked the back of Olive's head. Honey, what do you mean by bad cake? Her expression unsure, Olive frowned. I was outside of Fredbear's diner in the rain, watching a birthday party inside. I wasn't invited, though, and I never had a birthday myself. Because of her growing suspicion, Erika's heart went out to the small thing. So, I was crying when a car pulled up behind me, and this man stepped out with a purple on him. He saw me and asked me why I was crying, with this big smile. So I told him, and then he gave me a slice of cake. I was really happy and ate it, but her feet shuffled some as she really didn't want to remember, but began sniffling. Then my tummy started to hurt, really hurt. And it wasn't just my tummy, but the rest of me as well. And I started crying because it hurt so much, Mommy. But the purple man just grinned and held his finger up against his lips and told me that I shouldn't make so much noise. Then I felt really tired, and it was hard to keep my eyes open, even though it hurt so much. For a moment, Erika stared at the crying animatronic in horror at what she was hearing before she put her laptop to the side and hugged her close. Shh. Shh. It's okay, Olive. It's okay. Now bawling, Olive began to wet Erika's shirt. And then I woke up. But I was in this puppet show with this puppet man with a white mask and two purple stripes on his mask. He used these strings to make me do things that made all the other kids laugh at me, like hitting myself in the face with a pie. But why was he so mean, Mummy? Barely able to keep her composure, Erika just swallowed heavily. I don't know, Olive. Despite every bit of her not wanting to really know, she looked down at Olive with her vision blurred by tears. How old are you? Sniffling, Olive looked at her paw and held up for her claws. This old, Mummy. That turned out to be the final straw for Erika as she began to cry and held Olive close and rocked her back and forth. Oh, dear sweet merciful Lord. God, merciful God, oh God. And that is the end of chapter 12. That was quite long-ish. So, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, be sure to subscribe, and comment down below. If you're looking forward to the next chapter, I was gonna say, what do you like? But it's better to leave a review. Leave a review for the chapter. Go to the chapter, leave a review, tell the author. Or don't tell me, tell the author. Although I guess share your thoughts as well if you do leave a review. But do both. But yeah, anyway, I hope you like this, and I will see you next Friday with a new video.